support Donald Trump, all these fake MAGA out. So I'm telling all the people who support Donald Trump, all these fake MAGA alpha males, when are you guys going to enlist? Because Donald Trump is willing to sell out the American people and sacrifice American lives fighting another Israeli Middle Eastern war. I still remember there was all these slop MAGA X accounts who are boosted by Elon Musk and the Zionist entity who was saying Yemen will pay, and they was celebrating the downfall of Yemen, saying that they made a giant mistake declaring war, and once again they are forced to play politics and fix the narrative because they once again failed in their military objective. They haven't won a war, they haven't accomplished a military objective in decades. They lost to the Taliban in Afghanistan. They failed to rid Korea of communism from the entire peninsula. They failed in the Middle East. So it's all about narrative control. The only thing they actually do, and we're seeing war crimes against civilians and killing of innocent people and using starvation as a tool of war. They commit atrocities as a way, because that's what they did in Yemen. They bombed hospitals. They kill civilians because that's the only way they can wage war. They don't wage successful war. They engage in terrorism.
The only way that the United States and seemingly the majority of NATO powers can do any damage to a society is to kill the people who are not even trying to fight. Because right now, Yemen, they're using borrowed weapons with little intel. They have the intel that they have, but it's not like you're getting intel from like the Israeli military, which has the most significant intel apparatus in the world. Like, they're working with what they have, and you can't even beat Yemen.
Many Americans, they start to oppose war when the United States seems to be losing. The same way that Vietnam was a disaster for United States soldiers. A lot of people pretend that the American people was against Vietnam from the beginning. That was not the case. A lot of Americans actually was gun-ho, let's destroy communism in other countries, and then they saw Americans come back in body bags, and that is what caused many Americans turn against war.
Like, that's why many and they started getting drafted.
But if they actually had to fight against a true strong enemy, especially in the modern era, they're going to get their ass whooped the same way they got their ass whooped in every single modern war in my lifetime. Because the United States, they don't create soldiers, they don't create warriors, Nico. The people who signed up for the United States military, they're trying to get free college. Meanwhile, if you're in Yemen, you're standing up against the empire. If you're someone who...
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tea Time. I'm your host, Andre.
This is tired peasant coming for the bathroom.
And we
My
coming to you live from the airwaves of YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. And on the bottom of your ticker down there, be sure to follow the official ATP Network Twitter account at ATP Network 247. And today we have a special guest, one of our last guests for a while, but I'm about to get to that towards the end.
the final guest
Well,
for a
yeah, the
while.
final guest for a while. Say what's up, Anthony? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, bro. It's nice to finally meet everybody. My name is Anthony. To the audience, you guys can follow me on X. If you do, you're gonna laugh because last night I was posting shit while drunk. So
Those are the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that one time too.
Got myself in trouble, but I
Hey, Liz, you remember election night? I was drunk as fuck.
Oh, me too.
Man, I lost my shit on live, man. Like you need to go back and watch that election day coverage, man. It's not
We'll
that far.
do.
Man, I was mad as hell.
Had a
I'm
whole
telling you,
bubble.
man. Yeah. You know, so yeah, man, I'm glad that, the ATP network, man, we had our ups and downs. Every network has ups and downs, but when I get to meet people, the little fish in the, socialist world like Anthony and, Mike and, Smurf, like, that motivates me to do this shit on a day-to-day basis, man. So I just, I'm just giving you flowers early, Anthony, man, because
Oh,
I looked
thanks,
at your
bro.
Twitter and man, you give me motivation to keep doing this. So
Damn, for real? Oh, man.
yeah,
Super
yeah,
dope.
you and some other people, man. Yeah, the small people matter, man. Look, like
Exactly.
I'm telling you, man. Like I like my, I like the Nick Cruzes, the Savvy Savs, the JB Funts. They're great people, but it's you guys that motivate me. I just want to let you know that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel the same way. So.
Oh yeah. I got, I'm gonna start with the first question. Let's talk about Trump's recent executive order, man. The lower prescription drug prices, man. What's your take on it? Do you think it's fake, or do you think it's a real thing?
Yeah, what's your take?
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I'm checked out with the Trump shit in a sense because it's like he's so fuck. I can cuss, right?
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's so fucking crazy. Like here in LA, like I was watching the news the other day, and they were talking about removing the habeas corpus and shit like that.
Oh,
So I'm not really like tapped into it. So you gotta have to explain to me what is he doing with the prescription drugs?
He claimed to lower them by 50%. And it's supposed to match the most favorite nation, rate, which I get from that
every.
is yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
man.
yeah, I mean, if it's not fake and it's real, then it's obviously gonna be good because like medicine is expensive.
Very
I
excited.
Yeah, so I had my like this was in February, late February. I went to the hospital St. Francis right here down the street, but they misdiagnosed me because it's a ghetto hospital and they're just trying to get the fuck out the ER. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but luckily for me, I have a primary doctor. So I went to my because I felt like I was like, nah, let me go to my primary doctor, and he ended up sending me to LA General, and then that's when they diagnosed me that my gallbladder was infected and they had to do immediate surgery.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, they had to so they removed my gallbladder, but the medicine, it was covered by the Medi-Cal and shit like that, but there's a lot of medicine that isn't covered by the Medi-Cal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be spending like over $100 on medicine, so if that's true, then I could see a benefit for it because there's so many people that need medicine, elderly people here, in the neighborhood, so with all kinds of different things. So that's how I look at it. If it is true, then it's good, but if it isn't, then he's just crazy.
Yeah, I hope
But
it's like everything's like there's like so many stories, so many executive orders. It's like the one about that you were talking about before, the what is it called? I can't pronounce it. The habeas, the
Habeas corpus.
yeah, that one. That one's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Give it a
like,
due process.
yeah,
Mm.
because you saw that guy. I remember seeing that Stephen Miller dude, and you can see it on his
Oh yeah,
face.
he's a
You can just see
Nazi.
it on his face. Like, he's just hateful. Like, he's just
Yeah.
completely,
Yeah,
he's hateful. The irony of it is he's Jewish, so it seems like those white folks have let him in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you know, you know. Can you walk us? I mean, can you walk us through your political journey? Like, what
Oh, this is
moments or
it. Oh,
ideas?
yes, yes, yes. I've been waiting to do this because this is my solidarity with TP with you. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it real, right? Let's keep it 100,
yay.
right?
We keep it
Okay,
real
I'm
here.
gonna, I'm gonna keep it super, super duper real, right? Okay, so my dad is Puerto Rican and my mom is African American,
My dad's
right?
Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. So my dad, like my mom, they met through her foster father, because he was working with my dad at this place in LA. And my parents, they fell in love and stuff like that, but there wasn't a lot of education. You know what I mean? They
Right.
didn't have a lot of education because they were both coming from dysfunctional families.
Yeah.
Even though my dad had money, he had money because he was also like, even though he had a great job, he was also like selling drugs too.
Hmm.
So there was that dynamic. And then my mom, she was only 18, 19 years old, even though my dad is 8 years older than her.
Hmm.
And so, they got together, they married, they tried to raise a family and stuff like that. And it was good. It was, like a normal lower middle class life and stuff like that. But by like the mid 2000s, my mom, she started having what we now would say are like severe like mental health crises and issues. And everything was going great in regards to the family and stuff like that. But she ended up having all these kind of internal personal issues, and she ended up abandoning our family.
Oh damn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Damn,
And
man.
so, yeah, yeah. So we ended up basically through that falling into poverty and then moving from where I'm from. I'm from Long Beach, and we moved from Long Beach to more of a predominantly like kind of Hispanic or Mexican type of like environment here in Southgate. And so it was the poverty of like, okay, it was the poverty and then also the trauma of losing my mom, and then also all the dysfunction that comes with that, because like, when you have like you're, I don't know how it is, but like for you guys, but like, with old, like I remember my uncle talking about my dad, and he's all like, it's that old Hispanic way. Because my dad, all he knows how to do is work. He doesn't know how to he doesn't know how to emotionally connect. He doesn't know how to, so he had all that trauma himself. You know what I mean? So it created not only did our family fall into poverty, but it created a toxic mix of violence where now me and him are getting into fights. Now me and my sister are getting into fights. Now him and my sister are getting into fights. Now my sister's like, now she's running the streets. You know what I mean? So it was all that kind of shit. So in the midst of all that kind of shit, me still having, some sense of hope, some sense of intelligence, some sense of like education. One day, I opened up my high school book and I saw Karl Marx in there, and I was like, "Oh, okay, who's this?" And then I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh, this makes sense." And then I remember I was sitting next to my dad on the sofa, and I showed it to him, and he's like, "Yes, it makes sense." And this was really at a like a super. This was like at a really hard because like this was like the peak of the recession, and so my dad, he's done HVAC for like the last 30 plus years, and so the company that he had worked for, they shut down operations in like 2009.
Hmm.
So it came to a point where that threw our family into like even more poverty, because now it's like now he's blowing through savings trying to pay rent and then also trying to take care of these four kids that my mom left behind, because now not only is it me and Victoria who are like in high school, but now he has Vettel and Vanessa. He has Vettel and Vanessa who are like elementary age school children, and he's trying to juggle all that kind of shit, and he doesn't know, even though he knows how to cook, he doesn't know how to cook good. So what he would do is buy his fucking McDonald's all the time.
Oh damn.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was just all of it. It was just all of it. It was just all of it. And I remember, like, I stopped going to high school. Like, I'm actually a high school dropout, even though I mean I have a high school diploma. Like, I have a high school diploma, and I've gone to college.
I got my
Yeah.
GED. Fellow high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, like I stopped technically, like I stopped going to school in after ninth grade, and because now that I can look back on it, it was because it was so much fucking trauma. It was just so much violence, so much, yeah, so much trauma, so much violence, so much mental health, and then also, and now things have changed, but like I'm not from LA, I'm from Long Beach, so I grew up in a multicultural environment. Moving here for high school, you know, things have changed now, but back then, those Mexicans, like, they're extremely racist. So it's not like Florida, it's not like being on the East Coast. Here, the Mexicans and the blacks don't mix. So,
Hey, Anthony, you know what? I'm about to ask you a question about that, but you can continue.
yeah,
Continue.
so, so I go to this high school and it's just full of these, Mexican kids, and there's already a disconnect because I'm from Long Beach. I don't know anything of their LA culture or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then also there's a disconnect of like them having racial bias and animus. And so there was that. So I was just like, you know what? I just stopped going. And I remember once I was in the counselor, the counselor that, because the high school counselors, now looking back on it as an adult, they really did care. They were trying to help all these dysfunctional kids, but there was no way to help us. Like, there was literally no way. You know what I mean? And I remember once I was like sitting waiting to talk to the female counselor, and I was like, I had my fucking head in my fucking lap, and this young girl, she tapped me on my shoulder. She coincidentally was sitting next to me, and it was like it was a young girl, and she's like, "Oh, I think you're cute," and stuff like that. But we just like talked and stuff. But she was coming from the same kind of dysfunctional type of shit, you know what I mean? So that kind of brought me back. So, like, even though it was going through all these kind of different things, all this, navigating all this trauma, all this abuse, all of this, all poverty, I still had myself, because not to put anybody on blast, but like the mention of suicide and shit like that. I remember when I was 15 in 2007, I tried to commit suicide in my closet. Like, what the
Wow.
fuck, with, like, remember those studded emo belts?
Oh
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, so, like, and that was like the low point, right? But I hung out there, and then but I stopped going to school, and my aunt Maria, she actually, my grandma and my grandpa, they lived around the street, and then my aunt Maria lived like where the park was. So I would go to my aunt Maria's house and her husband Jesse, and I would just go there and cry, and they would listen to me, and they'd try to help. You know what I mean? So
That's nice.
yeah, so it was just like, it was all that kind of shit. So, but how it made me get to a sense of like understanding that we all collectively share this misery and this trauma and this dysfunction, and looking at the trap where we come from these kind of families, and the parents have these issues that no one knows how to address and deal with. But then also looking at friends and saying, okay, well, some people are becoming gangsters, other people are becoming all fucked up, other people are either gonna go work in the factories right here, or become a nurse or some shit. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yeah.
trying to navigate all those different things and realizing it, but then realizing it and understanding those class dynamics. So what happened was, when I was like 19 in 2011, I was like, okay, I'm a socialist. Oh, I did go to Occupy Long Beach with a girlfriend Occupy Long Beach and Occupy LA with a girlfriend of mine, and it was beautiful. Like, a lot of people forget how at the peak of Occupy, like,
Yes.
that was a legitimate
Yeah.
socialist. Like, that's why President Obama stopped that shit, because that
Yeah,
was
that was my first protest. I was to Occupy Orlando, and it opened up my eyes. It really did.
yeah, same here. Like, and and yeah, you know, they were making sure people didn't get evicted from their apartments. You know what I mean?
It was really legit. I
Yeah,
said we
it was.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you know, and then also at that time, you know, you're a young man, and now you're wanting to connect to, you know, a young woman. And I met this young woman at the time, and she kind of, you know, it's funny because now I'm looking at it as an adult. She actually came back into my life like 2 years ago, but then she left again because she
mm,
has these, like, she just has issues. But
Yeah.
you know, meeting as teenagers, and she was coming from a same kind of position, but she, like, when I've told the story, like, she was experiencing like the female side of it, where it's like she had been, unfortunately, you know, she underwent SA, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then she also went through kind of homelessness, and then also her mom tried to pimp her out. Like, this is the shit that nobody ever like talks about on Twitter, with like how we actually live, you know what I mean? Like, she
More people should. I love to hear the stories. Like it's all our, shit we've been through.
Yeah, you know, and so her and I really, you know, we really formed a deep bond. I don't want to say it was a trauma bond because it wasn't that necessarily. It was more so of a bond of these two human beings trapped within the system, trying to figure out as young kids how to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but her herself, you know, she kind of epitomizes our generation as millennials, because she's so talented. She's all this, but she has so much trauma, so much internal. Because what it does is it gives us a bad, like, all the shit that we go through. It makes us not. It makes us only kind of commit maybe a quarter or halfway, but it makes us hard to, like, to not just simply do things, but to, like, kind of shine through. You know what I mean? Because it's like we've been taught, we're not shit. You know, shit. So, but through all that, I got this fucking girlfriend. I have poverty, because at that time, like, because again, my dad was out of work, so at that time we didn't even have hot water for a whole fucking year.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, so in that time I was like, I need to find something to get active into. So I went on my Facebook and I typed in socialist something, you know, and what popped up was this socialist organization here in California. And I hit them up, and they're like, okay. I met with the lady. My dad dropped me off at the She met me at a Tierra Mia. Do you guys have that where you guys are?
What is
A
it?
Tierra, do you
Huh?
guys have a Tierra Mia? You know, the coffee shop?
No, what is that? No.
Mm-mm.
It's like a Latino coffee shop company, but there's like a bunch here, and it's like rivaling Starbucks, but it's really good.
Oh, cool. No, we just have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts.
Same here.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. But yeah, so the lady. So anyway, so like what I was saying, so it's like, so I was like, I need to find something. So on Facebook, I typed in the search engine when I was 19, socialist, and just to see what popped up. And it was this organization here in Southern California, and in California as a whole. And so I clicked on it, talked to the people, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna send you to meet up with this lady. And I met up with the lady. My dad dropped me off to meet her, and you know, they seemed cool. And she's like, "You want to join?" I was like, "Yeah." They put me in touch with this. With, he had his name on Facebook as Francisco, but his real name was Jose. And
Mhm.
we became like super close. He was from Mexico City, and he became like my big brother in that way. You know, like teaching me, like, you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
so this organization, so when I met them and I met everybody, they gave me all these materials to read, and they gave me, now looking back on it, they gave me the right materials, because they gave me stuff on black and Latino people. They gave me, like, they really, like, now looking back on it, like, they gave me everything that I needed, you know what I mean, at that moment.
Yeah.
And then you know, started to hang out with them, and then I went to like their, like, they had like this big kind of retreat in San Francisco, and it was super dope. I got to meet Jose. Everyone was there, so it was a really beautiful a really beautiful mix of people, of working class people, and even the people who, like, like I said, had the money and stuff like that. They were super dope too. They never tried to, like, they never put, there was never any, like, they never put themselves above us or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the white people, like, they knew that, and they wanted to mentor us because we were all young, so it was beautiful in that regard.
It's all
But
like a community.
yeah,
Like a
but at the same time, I have all this energy in me. I have all this energy, all of this wanting to explore, wanting to do things, wanting to express. But then at the same time, I have all this anger. I have all this violence in me. I have all this, even sex. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fuck women. I want to, you know what I mean? So it's like all of it is coming out. All of it is coming out, and so I'm going on these different adventures. I'm hanging out with all these different people, and just a real side note. So when I worked at the Walmart in 2021,
hmm
this Latin woman who was my coworker, who got hired the same time I did, she recognized me from back then when I was in my late teens and early 20s, going to, like, the punk rock shows and stuff like that. So, but basically, it was like this community of, like, I'm trying to, like, okay, I'm in these alternative spaces with people. I'm in like these alternative spaces of, like, not just with that stuff, but music, creativity. Now I'm meeting, like, even though I've always known and my parents had gay friends and stuff like that, but now like, my friend Jose, who, like, it's funny too because I remember because he was super dope. He was, like, going to the university in San Jose, California, and I remember and he, like, because he was originally from Mexico City, but he was an undocumented, person. So, but I remember, like, him telling me about, like, him first going to the Bay Area and San Francisco and stuff like that, and how he was going to, like, gay orgies and shit. And I remember me and my innocence telling him, "Wait, so you let a man fuck you in the ass?" And he just laughed because it was just like, because it was just the innocence, you know what I mean? Like, but it was just meeting all these kind of true radical people that were living their life
Yes,
on their
regular
own.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, living their life on their own terms. And if
Yeah.
but for me though, but for me in that time period, I had to express violence. I had to express all of this energy that was in me. So I started to write poetry. I started to even, like, I had an infamous Facebook actually that got me into conflict with a lot of people, family, those people I'm talking about, friends, because I would, like you guys know who Tyler the Creator is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, picture that kind of person, but, like, more fucking crazy. And I would post, like, the craziest shit on fucking my Facebook, for everyone to see, right? And it's funny. I remember once my uncle Raymond. Now this is, like, fast forward to, like, the last couple years. I remember he's like, you don't. He's like, look at the shit you post on Facebook, and I was like, that
Sounds
was
like
the
my
past.
family.
Yeah, I was like, that was the past, bro. I'm a grown man now. Like, yeah. But anyway, so, like,
Yeah.
but like, but basically, yeah, it was just all that I needed to express. All that, you're dealing with poverty, you're dealing with all this shit. Luckily, I had friends, and I had my best friend who, his family was, they remained intact and they became middle class and stuff like that. And I would go with his family on vacations and shit like that. But those people, they were Filipino and they really looked out for me because they understood what went on with my family, and they really, really looked out for me because I was lost. But oh yeah, I was completely lost in all those directions because I remember when I was 21 in 2013, I remember I was standing on the street corner with, like, some people, but the kind of people now that you're not, that you now know as an adult that you never should have been around those kind of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember at the time in my head thinking, like, fuck, I want my mom and dad to save me, but they never were going to save me. But through all this, the radicalization process and the poverty and all this shit, but then meeting all these different people within poverty, because that's the thing that also radicalizes you, is the people you meet in it. You're meeting
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You're meeting people who are missing limbs. You're missing other dysfunction. You're meeting other
Other
dysfunctional kids.
dysfunctional people.
Yeah, you're meeting all these different people. You're talking about how to scam for food stamps, what to
Oh
put
yeah.
to make, you know what I mean, like what to what to put to get them to approve the food stamps and shit like that. And I remember, now I was actually forced by my extended family to apply for welfare because now my uncle Angel and my aunt Maria, they had called me on the phone and they were like, no, you got to go because your dad can't afford all you guys, and you got to go, you got to help, but at that time, remember, this is like the peak of the recession, so the fucking welfare offices, they had lines like stretching all across around the street, you
People.
know what I mean? And so, but
Yeah.
it was also intimidating in the sense because it's like you had all these people who also fell into poverty and everybody was angry, and you had to watch how you looked at people, you know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
if you're in that line with motherfuckers and you look at them a certain kind of way, they're gonna be like, nigga, who the fuck you looking, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna be like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna be like on that kind of vibe, you know what I mean? And even then, like seeing that whole atmosphere was funny because I remember with two friends of mine, we all went to apply, and there was this albino dude, right? And out of nowhere, and please, I'm just gonna talk as I speak here with my friends and stuff like that. Out of nowhere, the nigga just started like rapping the most fucking like vulgar ass rap in the middle of the fucking welfare office. Like, like he just, but that was part of it. Like he just stood up. It was an albino nigga with fucking puffs, like the Afro
Yeah.
puffs. And
Yeah.
he
I know
Yeah.
what
just
you're talking
like
about.
yes,
Yeah.
like he just started rapping out of nowhere. And but it was this, it's funny too because I remember going down there because it was this place, and it's funny because Kendrick Lamar has actually referenced this place. Going to they called it the county office, right? And so going to that place, I remember seeing my now he ended up actually like 2 weeks later getting killed, but seeing one of my friends who I grew up with, and he was Samoan, and he was all like, Anthony Medina, nigga, that's you. And I was like, you know what I mean? So it was just like, and I was like, oh, what's up? I was like, Wilson, what's up, man? And we catched up, and the same thing that happened to my family happened to him. And I was like, wow, okay. And he was like bugged out that my sister had got turned out and all this kind of shit, and like we were just exchanging like these war stories, right? And he had joined the Long Beach Crip gangs,
Hmm.
and but he was telling me about like all the shit that he had been going through and all that kind of stuff, and he had become an alcoholic and all this kind of shit. He had 2 kids. One of the kids he didn't claim, you know what I mean? And it was just like it was just all of it. So it was meeting all these different people, but that again, like it radicalizes you. It makes you because it's like you see that this is what we have in common. We have all this
Yeah.
shit in common, right? So yeah, so for me at that point, as a young person, as a young socialist, as a young man, I want at that now looking back on it, I was trying to figure out like what to do because it was like it wasn't like the organization that I was with, they were cool and all that stuff, but they weren't really like we did like the California Student Union and stuff like that, but it wasn't it wasn't anything more than hanging out, really. You know what I mean? It wasn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And so by like 2015, okay, so actually, so in 2014, I became friends with like these with these like two new friends, and one of them, she was a stripper, and then and the other friend who was coincidentally her boyfriend, he was actually Puerto Rican too. He was like, he was just an interesting guy. I'll just put it like that. And so they asked me, we became super close, and they had asked me like if I wanted to just leave town with them and go do, let's just say some legal gray area things, right? And because at that time I'm 22 and I'm working at the fucking McDonald's on Long Beach Boulevard. And guess what? At that fucking McDonald's, I never made more than $200 because what they would do is they had like 80 people working there, but they would rotate us on 2 to 4 hour shifts.
I worked at
Oh,
McDonald's once. It sucked. I did not like it. I actually
Oh, damn.
lasted 2 days. That's it.
Yeah, but here was the thing with that shit, because it was like there was so much pressure on me to have a job from my dad, from my uncles, from my aunts, that I couldn't. It just couldn't. You know what I mean? Like even my older sister's now husband, he was all like, why don't you get your guard card and be a security guard? So it was like, it was again, it was that pressure. Like if you're a millennial and you came up in the Great Recession, and like like having to go to fucking those bullshit Craigslist jobs and having
Yes. Oh my god. My
Yeah.
mom's like, you better go start walking the pavement and get a job. Like side story. My high school dropout story for a second. Side story. It was like after prom, and I was like already struggling in school, and we had to do like standardized testing and stuff. And she was like, and she says that she didn't say this, but she's like a narcissist. But anyway, she's like, you're not gonna do good in school anyway, and pretty much her and my aunt signed me out, withdrew me from school, and they were like, well, now you need to go get a job. And I'm like, okay. And this was like I was 18. So I had to work at McDonald's, and they literally took me out of high school, which to this day they said that they didn't. But so that's why I never graduated high school. Like they like didn't give me the confidence. They were like, well, it seems like you're not gonna graduate anyway, so we're gonna take you out. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's the that's the family angle of shit, because it's like my dad does the same thing where he'll be all like, no, like you and your sisters are the ones who did it. Or,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
she's like, you guys did it. I don't, like, just like doesn't own up to it. Like, take accountability.
Yeah, it's their way of like, now I have more empathy now, you know what I mean? Because like my dad, my grandpa, he was an alcoholic and he beat his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My dad he doesn't have a lot of education. Like even though he has a great job, and he can barely really read and write. You know what I mean? So it's like
that's like my grandma. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like my grandma, like she's just an old, Puerto Rican woman. She doesn't even know how to drive and read, really. Like
that was my old Cuban grandma. Like she popped out like 9 or 10 kids.
Yeah, same thing with my grandma. So it's like there's not a lot of,
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Now looking at it, it is, and it kind of explains because even though like my life is like fine, but I had to really work at it, because it's like after like 2014 and doing what I did so like in 2014 I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a criminal. So like we did this thing all throughout California, but it was so cool. Like it was like, okay, like picture a road trip, but the road trip is you guys doing those kind of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
YOLO.
Yeah, so it was cool but then also it was cool because like the conversations we would have, and he was older than us. He was born in 81, and she was born in 91, and I was born in 92. But the conversations that we would have, he'd be like, "Look, do you want to be like these people?" It was like these philosophical, like, yeah, like so. But I remember so after, because like we almost got caught like in the Bay Area doing what we were doing, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's just go to Vegas." And so we went all the way down the 5 freeway here in California, straight to Vegas, and we got to Vegas on like fucking on the night before Halloween, and we lived in Vegas for like 3 months, and it was the best time of my life. Like,
Never been.
like
I have a cousin in Vegas, but I've never been.
yeah, you know what? Because it was like, because we had the money from what we had been doing, and then just the environment there of like, so this is now looking back on it as a grown man, I'm like, what the fuck was it? Because like it was like staying up for like weeks on end, drugs, fucking all this kind of shit. So it was just like, they took me to like my first strip club. You know what I mean? Like the Little Darlings in Las Vegas. If anybody's ever been there, like I remember
once in my life.
Yeah. like, okay, look. Okay, so my friend, she had been a stripper, right, here in LA, and so she's like, and so I'm walking into the strip club in Vegas, right? So they're behind me because they wanted me to go in so I could see it first, right? I go in there
Yeah.
and I see this fucking woman fully naked on a fucking stripper pole, clapping her ass and shit. And I turned back. I turned back. Yeah, I turned back to my
Oh
female.
Lord.
I turned back to my female friend, and I was like, "What?" Like,
That's
but it was just, yeah, it's funny too because that environment in there was interesting in itself because like one of the strippers like took a liking to me, and she claimed to be Puerto Rican herself, and I wish I had Alex here because if she would be able to tell it way better than I did, but like basically like I remember, so the one like we have I don't know what it was, but like her and I really like connected or whatever, but like I remember she was telling me about how this like older white dude was trying to like get her to like traffic what she called class C drugs. It's like I'm having this like fucking conversation with this stripper, you know what I mean? But and I remember she was all like because she liked me but she wasn't gonna like fuck me for free, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
so she was all like she was
Yeah.
like okay, like so she like took me to the private room, and then after, right, she's like, I'm down to fuck you, but it's gonna be like $200, right? But
Okay.
at that point, I'm 22, and so like 22, Anthony's like, oh, $200, that's like a lot of money. But I didn't end up having sex with her or anything like that. But I remember because we went there like 4 or 5 times, and I remember me and Alex going there solo because Greg he wanted to go gamble in the casino, and this like one of the black strippers came up to me and Alex, and she she comes up to us and she want like basically offers because she thought we were a couple, and she like offered us to do Molly and have sex. And she sits on my lap and she starts bouncing on my lap, and then her and Alex started making out. So it was just like, but it was just wildness, you know what I mean? Like it was just a
Yeah.
wild
Yeah.
time. But you needed that. I needed it. I needed to because it's like because back home it was like working at that McDonald's, and then two,
Yeah,
I
you
was
just
like I was fucking like yeah. Two, I was also and then also dealing with my dysfunctional family, and then also dealing with like this girl who she was like she was going to this now looking back on it like it's all cool, but she was like this girl who she had like she was cool, but she was like she was coming from the kind of same working class environment, but she was going to the college. She had all the college, like that kind of, the kind of shit that they, you know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
just give me 1 second.
Oh my
Sorry.
god.
Okay. Okay. You continue.
Yeah, so she, it was just dealing with like having a fake girlfriend, who didn't want to give me any and all this kind of shit. So it was just like I was like, I had to leave, I had to go, So, but
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Man. You. Hey. I'm gonna say this, man. You live one hell of a life, though.
I did, bro.
You
Yeah, man.
experience. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you another question. You were talking about earlier, like some Mexicans and like don't like are racist towards black people. Um, like what's up with the lack of solidarity between black and brown people? I've been noticing it on and off, especially with the immigrant thing. Like black people thinking like being propagandized to think that the immigrants are taking their jobs and shit, which we know that's not true. But like in your opinion, like what's the deal with that?
You mean here in like LA?
Oh, anywhere, man. Like you
I
know,
can't speak. I can't speak to anywhere because like I'm Puerto Rican, so I know that on the East Coast we're united with blacks. So and then
okay, the West Coast, yeah.
yeah,
Where you
so
at?
I can't really speak to. So yeah, so here I what it historically has been is it's the gang politics. So you have like the African American gangs and the Mexican who they have strict gang politics, like strict like politics with that, where you don't mix, where you don't go over to their side. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
I get it.
that's how it is here for those people where they don't mix. And then two, they're so at, it's changed now in the last 10 years, so I don't want to misconstrue anything. You see more intermix, you see more solidarity in the last 10 years, but historically it's been just basically like ignorance, the gang shit, and then also there are, unfortunately, there are cultural differences in the sense of like, how we are as black people. um Mexicans, no disrespect to them, but they're, let's just say, like, they're galaxies away from how we are, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
And there's no disrespect, that's just what it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But again, it's that kind of internalized kind of, because you're also dealing with like the both groups experienced extreme racism. So like the Mexicans here, they're coded as, like, growing up, it was coded as like, oh, you want your house to get done, hire a Mexican. Oh, you want somebody to watch the kids, hire a Mexican. You want somebody to cut the grass, hire a Mexican. So they deal with a lot of that kind of internalized racism that they have to experience through that. And as for black people here, as everywhere else, but black people here, black people are going to get shitted on because of their facial features, how they look. They're going to be coded as lazy. They're going to be coded as slow, dumb. They're going to be coded like, this is all the shit that I've seen and heard living here, right?
oh
Um,
yeah,
so that there's a lot of, because like once both groups experience like this kind of outside racism, it becomes a thing of like, it's hard to communicate because it's like, I'm looking at you as this, and you're looking at me as this, even though we don't think, like, we didn't come up with this about ourselves. These other people made us think we're like this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah. So there's that. That's kind
What?
of, over the last 10 years has changed, because now actually you're seeing, and this is what's interesting, is like, now you're seeing like young Mexican kids, join the Crips, join the Bloods, and you're even seeing like young black kids, even if they live in like a Mexican area, like they'll join like the Sorreno gangs. So it's like, and then you have
Yeah,
like, you have like the hip hop, like the hip hop music here, where it's like, okay, now it's like, it's okay to mix. And then now you have like these young Mexican kids who, like, when I was a kid growing up, like if a Mexican kid said nigga and shit like that, it was just like, ugh, like, nigga, you can't say that. But now it's like, it's okay for them to say it. You know what I mean? Like, now it's okay for them because they're niggas too. So it's like, okay, yeah, like, I see these kids and they're all playing with each other, they're all hanging out, and it's like, okay, like, oh yeah, they say the N word, but they're saying it because they're ends too. You know what I mean? Like, and it's okay now because it's like we're all at the bottom and we're all mixing. So it's like, okay, yeah, So now people are more willing to. Those barriers don't really exist as how they used to, and then also, speaking about when I was in that socialist organization, one of the white ladies, one of
Getting
the
my
white,
kids.
oh no, it's cool. One
you
of the
good?
one of the white ladies in that organization that I was in, she was organizing the car washes here in LA, and she would bridge the gap between African Americans and Mexican Americans. So it's like, you know, so yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. Yeah, but you'll think though, man. Like, well, you said things change now, which is good. But you'll think like from the jump, like Mexicans and blacks will be just close from the jump. Um, but yeah. I got some closing questions for you. One of them might be really tricky, so I'm gonna start with that one. What are five dinner guests you would invite, dead or alive?
Oh, this is a great. I feel like I'm on All the Smoke now.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
took
because
that
that's what.
idea.
Yeah, man, that's why I see Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. That's what they be asking, like, the
Yeah.
basketball players at the end of the interview. So like, oh, five dinner guests. Let me see. I'm gonna go with Jesus on that.
Okay.
um, because I think Jesus was everything that he said he was. I think the
I think
act
so
of
too.
yeah, I think the act of killing Jesus was the most obscene act that humanity ever did. How you gonna kill a nigga for just saying that he just wanted to bring people together? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
he wanted everyone to come together. He didn't like the rich, and like he stood up for poor people.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
yeah, so he would be my first dinner guest. Second would be Che, because Che, as a young teen getting into socialism, I
Oh,
watched
he's
all the
awesome.
yeah, I watched the Motorcycle Diaries. I watched the movie with Benicio del Toro. Like he was, and then it's funny. He's one of the few people that can make me cry. I read a letter that he wrote to his daughter. If you read it, it's one of the most beautiful letters you'll ever read that a human being ever wrote. It'll make you cry. Like it'll make you cry. So Che, Jesus. I'm gonna throw in Thomas Sankara in there from Africa, because I
Oh,
think
okay.
because what he was trying to do is something like I would do. You know what I mean? Like if I had become a leader, like I would do the steps that he was doing. So I'd want to talk to him. And then honestly, to also, let's keep it socialist. Just to add a different mix. I want to talk to Stalin and Trotsky, because I want to understand what the beef was really about. I want to understand what what was, because I've now heard both sides. Because the socialist organization that I was in, it was a Trotskyist group, and now you see on Twitter all these people who claim that they're Stalinists. So I want to know from them, without nobody around. Just let's just talk as men. Let's be honest about what was really the difference. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Wow. That's a good. Man, that'd be a good conversation. Hell, hey, add an extra
Oh, I
seat for
love to
me.
chill with Jesus. Yeah, me too. I want to. I
Yeah.
want to talk to
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus
I got a
Palestinian
lot
too.
of.
So.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, if there was an actual church that had his actual teachings, like for real, then I would legit like join that, or sit
me
down
too.
and listen to.
no, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. What's your favorite comfort foods?
Uh, I came back from a party last night, so they had cheesecake, so I'm gonna go with cheesecake on that.
Ooh, cheesecake is good.
Yeah, I love
Hey, the
cheesecake.
Walmart cheesecakes in the
Oh
fucking
yeah,
deli?
yeah.
Yes. I always make sure that it's a Walmart deli cheesecake.
And
But
the expired ones, they leave it there, and like we're sometimes we'll like take a little bite.
shit, I mean, it's only been a day,
They're
right?
gonna throw it away anyway. So
True, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
still good.
Yeah.
Where do you see Anthony 10 years from now?
Well, I'm about to go to the university, so
Nice.
yeah. So I'm gonna do that. Even though I'm good and I love doing the field that I'm in, I'm gonna keep it 100 with both of you. I'm
Hmm.
using I'm using education to finesse my way outside the United States, and what I mean by that is,
Oh,
because I'm tired of living here. Like
me too, man.
it's on a personal level. Like I'm tired of living here, and I'm using that to be my thing to get me out of here. So in 10 years, hopefully, I'm doing research in sociology to like research on because I could do research here, like a research project here, to kind of describe what's going on with working class people here where I live. But honest to God's truth, my full ambition would be to either here or somewhere else. Like I want to be a leader. Like I want to,
I didn't know
but
it was gonna rain.
not a leader where I'm not trying to hog up the room or anything. But like I posted, like I think I sent this
He's
to.
here. I gotta get him.
Um, I remember I think I sent this to PP that or commented on her post with it, because I've been like looking into.
On my show. Say hello.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Say hi.
What's up?
Got your little baby, huh? But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But okay, so You know what? I'm gonna be ambitious with it. So I've been looking into like I did the calculations on how much a $40,000 car, how many weeks it takes right now in 2025 if you make the average median income in the United States, how many weeks it will take you to to buy that car to be able to afford it. And this is by the way, this is all pre-tax. So this I didn't include taxes and all that kind of shit into it. But it takes a worker 33.5 weeks to be
See you
able
when we
to
get
afford
home.
a car.
Forgot.
Wow. I
Okay,
didn't know that.
but if we transitioned into a socialist system where the accounting is now based upon our labor, so like meaning like if we all work,
Hi, Kira.
because there's no money, we're being paid in labor credits. So our labor, we get like how many hours we get for that we get in labor credits. It would only take 1.8 weeks for a worker to get that car.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the but
It's
that's
a
if we
little raining today.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's if we transition into socialism. So that's what, honest to God's truth in my heart, that's what I want to do because I want to liberate you guys. I want to liberate the people in my apartment building. So that's what I want to do. But that's I've been trying to focus on basically presenting how it'll work, and I'll send you guys what I wrote after we're done here. I'll send it to you via DM for you guys to read it yourself. I sent it to my
Yeah, and if
yeah.
you ever need me to RT anything,
Oh,
just let me know. I'm the people's account, so I
thank
don't
you. I
mind.
appreciate it. Yeah, because I think because what I deliberately showed it simple like basically a bit like explaining how like right now in capitalism in 2025 if you make the median income in the United States it'll take you 33.5 weeks to afford a $40,000 car. But if we transitioned into a socialist system that has labor accounting, you would be able to afford that car via your labor credits within 1.8 weeks.
Hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that doesn't even take into account. So if we have the revolution, that doesn't even take into account because I ran the models for it. The level of technology that exists in the United States is so advanced that according to my models, in 30 years we could actually have automated communism, meaning that
That'd be
factories,
great.
yeah, factories and robots would basically be able to like pump out Xboxes and PlayStations at will. So all you would have to do is just click on, okay, I want a car, click on, okay, I want a PlayStation, click, I want a house or whatever the fuck, and you'd be able to have it. Like
That
that's the
would be
Yeah.
great.
like that's the thing that like we never see online with like the weirdos or even like the fucking academic socialists that we see or the journalist people. They never actually present
What do you?
like
Don't drink the
how
rainwater. It
it'll
might be
work, like
nasty.
or what not necessarily how it'll
No,
work, what
they
it'll
put
look like
poisons
here.
in the
You know what I
water.
mean?
Yeah.
No,
And
no,
so
no,
I've
no.
So
been
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, so I've been
yeah.
working on
No,
I've
no,
been working
no, no.
on how it'll work here. And so that's what so in 10 years from now, I want to be part of the group, part of the leadership, part of our people who can establish that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That'd be amazing, man. And
Yeah,
to
bro.
your point about leaving the United States, man. Like, I'm really trying to leave too myself, man. Like, I'm just like I'm drowning. I'm drowning here, man. Like, I'm not happy.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like if I continue to be here at the headspace I'm at, I ain't gonna live much longer.
No,
So
bro. I
yeah.
feel. I mean, let me ask you this: where do you live?
Louisiana right now. I'll move to
Okay.
Georgia next month. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how, because I remember once I had this like I don't know how you say it nowadays, internet friend, I guess. But this was like an older woman, like she was like an anarchist and stuff like that. But she lived in Louisiana. And I remember she told me that they could only get like $40 in food stamps there. But I don't know how it'll work if
Say
you. I don't
bye.
know how your state. But basically, what I'm saying is like I don't know how your state healthcare works. But if you have the state healthcare there, like see if they provide mental health services because here in California,
Where's her mom or
here
dad?
in California, like
Where's
through
her
the
mom?
they provide mental
Oh
health services, and I've been going to
Oh,
a therapist for
Maya's
the last
mom.
3 years, and it's
yeah.
completely
Hi,
helped me out.
buddy.
Like completely helped me with that kind of shit. So
Yeah. I have health insurance through my employer, but they don't cover physical. They don't cover mental
Oh,
health therapy.
Mm.
So yeah, and I can't apply for Medicaid because
I'm
I
on
make
my
too much.
show.
They say I make too much money. So
Oh yeah, I can't
yeah,
apply for food stamps. For food stamps, they say I make too much money. Also, for low income housing, they say I make too much money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is
yeah.
ridiculous.
Same where
Yeah.
I live at too. Like yeah. I need therapy, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
me too.
I definitely need it. But
Oh
Yeah, man.
yeah.
You get it. It does
Oh,
help.
Kira, be careful.
I've been in it for
Oh
now.
my God, I'm sorry.
Really helped me a
yeah,
Let
lot.
me hold that.
If any,
You're gonna have
yeah,
an accident and you're gonna run people over with the
I'm
yeah.
gonna say this though. Because I definitely understand where you're at, and it's great to have these communities here with people like ourselves, to tap
Right,
with one another. But I'm gonna also say this, and it's funny because like it took me to become a grown man to be able to say this, and everybody has their own different beliefs. But bro, check in with a church, like check in with a church, man. Like check because like churches, like there's a
hold
lot
it,
of.
please.
I feel like there's a lot of weird.
You want candy? Then you gotta be
I
good.
think a lot of them are actually really good, man. Like they like the church that I've been going to, they understand all the shit that people have been going through. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Totally. Um, if you were the fourth question, if you were president, what five executive orders would you sign on the first day?
I would sign a lot too.
Yeah.
um. Okay, so if I was like president, let's just say this: if I was president of like a new socialist United States, this is what I'm gonna do. One, a national renewal program,
What, buddy? What?
but that gets these people, these young people, these adults, and teaches them trades and
What is
skills
it?
by building this country, and then providing them with
Get your what?
full fucking free education for
Yes.
afterwards they can go to college and university, and if they want to
I
do
like that.
doctors, they want to. That's what I'm gonna do. The first thing.
Come on,
Second,
we gotta cross. Come on, walk, walk.
secondly, I'm gonna
Come on.
reparations for African Americans and Indigenous people, full reparations to the point where, like let's just say for African Americans, like HBCUs are gonna
Hold
be
on to that.
are gonna be
Let me hold
fully
it.
fully paid for, and to be put where basically you can, the identity of being an African American
We
is
gotta
like
cross the street. Hurry
is
up.
is recognized, and is
Come on.
uh
Come on, come on.
is recognized
Ooh,
and
cross the street,
supported,
cross the street.
and supported. Same thing
Here,
with
here,
the
take the
indigenous,
umbrella.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Third one would be for our soldiers that like were in the Iraq and Afghanistan and shit like that. I'm gonna give them a plot of land. I'm gonna pay for them. I'm gonna pay for them for them or their families to take trips around the vacations around the world. But I'm also gonna pay
Nice.
for them to, if they want to, I'm gonna pay for them to go to anywhere in the world to get any sort of spiritual shit that they may need. So if motherfuckers want to go check out some Buddhist shit to get their souls right and stuff like that, go ahead. I got you on that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take care of our
nice.
people like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then for the last, or for the one of the
Stop
last
fighting.
two, this is to me the most important one. Uh, Not just simply a national, but a continental high speed rail, because
Ooh,
because I think a lot of the racism and shit that we see, and a lot of the weird prejudice and shit like that we see, all
No, I
that
did not.
all that shit will go away when rednecks from Indiana could go take a train to San
You got an
Francisco.
umbrella.
hey, that what Rome said. Like Rome said, we had a high speed rail. A lot of people would see the United States in its entirety. Like, yeah. And I
That
think
would
I
be
think I kind of like that for
amazing.
him.
Exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it'll give working women and their kids like TP the ability to go have an affordable vacation. You know what I mean? It'll give
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll give people who may have prejudices and stuff like that to go see people
Oh
that
no,
just to see
oh,
life.
about
You know
high
what I mean?
speed
Get people,
rails,
to get people connected again.
like big subways.
And then
yeah.
obviously the last one, bro, is for me. You know what? The last one, I can be a leader, but the last one is this: you guys be the leaders. I don't. I could easily take the whole room up, hog up all. But you know what? I've thought about this now for the last few years. we've had our kings, we've had our queens. You know what? I'm not gonna follow that kind of shit. Let the people rule their lives for themselves. I'm gonna step back. You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying? So that would be my
Oh
last.
yeah.
A true democracy. Let the people make decisions on how they want to live, how they want to run their work, all that. I'm not. That's why I don't fuck with the Stalin people because it's like, nah. Like I'm gonna let everybody else. I'm gonna let TP y'all have full democratic input into how y'all want to live with your kids and everything like that, your communities and all that. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah.
we've had enough kings. You know what I mean? That shit is over
I
now.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last question, um, which person would you want to see on Tea Time, but you have to convince them to come on to the show?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, I'm still, kind of. Oh, let's get Lulu on here. She seems cool. Y'all have
Okay.
Lulu on there?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
not yet.
yeah. Get Lulu on here. She seems like she's a nice young girl. She seems like she's like dedicated to. She seems again. She's like that female side of like if I'm the male side of like being working class, she's the female
Okay.
side of it. So get the female perspective on. Yeah. So
This
Lulu.
way, guys.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get in touch with her. So yeah, man, Anthony, I really, man, this is like one of the best episodes we've
Yeah,
done so far.
there was a good last episode of Tea Time for a
Yeah.
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm definitely gonna send you guys because are you guys familiar with Fido?
Uh,
Uh.
no.
Oh, but he's super dope. Like he's super dope. But he and I have been talking and stuff like that. He lives in Spain, but he and I have been like, because I'll send him my plans and stuff like my the thing that I was been talking about, and he
Mhm.
like he'll tell me like, okay, yes, and or he'll tell me no, or he'll tell me okay, this is where you got to work on. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna send you guys like the labor accounting stuff like that. But yeah,
Okay. All right, man. That sounds good.
Sounds
That sounds
good.
good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Anthony. Man, you said so much true shit, man. I might invite you on to me and Mike's podcast, the A&M podcast, in the future. So
Oh, that
be
sounds
on,
Oh, bro.
cool.
Yeah, for
yeah, be
sure,
on
man.
the lookout for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, any last words, man? What can people find you on social media?
I mean, from now,
Package.
I mean, I don't want people following my Instagram because, like, even though I have my
Okay.
art and shit like that, I mean, it would be kind of.
What my
All
dad
right, fuck it,
got.
you guys can follow my Instagram.
I
It's
don't know.
like, it's son son _of _ Bichette BECHET, and the
Okay.
Bichette is basically Sidney Bichette,
Oh.
the jazz trumpeter. But like,
Okay.
yeah, because I love jazz. But you're from Louisiana, so it's like you know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. So, but also, you guys can follow me on Twitter. But if the people who follow me on Twitter, they need to understand something. I can be a socialist and stuff like that, but I listen to music. I like women. I like smoking weed. So if you are on this weird
Nothing wrong
shit,
with that.
yeah. So if you're on this weird shit of like, of you want to be militant 100% every fucking day. You're not gonna like me because I'm posting shit that's goofy. I'm posting shit that's funny.
Yeah, and
That's
that's what
good.
people want. You got to be
Yeah.
yourself. That's why I tell people like I want to see like real working class people for the revolution, but you got to have a sense of humor and you got to be yourself too.
You gotta laugh.
Yes.
You gotta laugh every
You
now and
got to
then. Like,
laugh. You
geez.
got to be goofy. You got to
Yeah.
laugh. It's fine to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's wet. Come on over here.
Yeah. All right, Anthony. See you on the other side, my brother.
Yeah, man. You have a beautiful day, both of you.
You
All right.
too.
Will
You too,
do.
man.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was Anthony. That was a great conversation.
That
Um,
it was a good last episode of Tea Time.
yeah. And before we go, guys, this will be the official, well, not the official last, but this will be the
Mhm.
last Tea Time episode for a while. I told Liz to take as long as she want. Like, don't
Taking a
rush to come back.
sabbatical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She need this. She's trying to move to Ohio, and it takes a lot of planning and
Yeah,
stuff for
I'm
that to
getting to
happen.
Ohio, but it takes some planning and
Yeah,
almost there. So I want to focus on that. And then
yeah,
when I'm settled and everything, I'll give you
yeah.
guys a good tea time. I
Oh yeah,
promise.
yeah. And also, guys, too, be on the lookout for I got a episode with you when you was at your job.
Oh
So
yeah, stay tuned for that.
yeah, that's going to come out tonight. So be on the lookout for that. Any last words, Liz?
Um, put it right here. Hold on. You guys can go in the house. You guys can go in the house. Any last words?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm on the phone right now. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Till she come back. So, um, like, be sure to like the video. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. And yeah. So yeah, y'all. You know, I decided to. Oh, she back.
Sorry,
Oh, it's
kids.
okay. I understand. Yeah, and I understand that. I understand that too. That's why I push for the sabbatical as well. Like,
Thank you.
pretty sure when they go to Ohio, they'll meet they Kaiba and
Can you
and
guys?
stuff like
Sorry, can
that.
you guys close the door? I'm on the phone. Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, in a minute, I'm gonna say my last words. Just close the door. But yeah, no, thank you guys for being patient. We've been through a lot of tea time shows. You know, keep the fight. We got this. So I'm gonna focus now. You guys know, I want you guys to see my journey getting to Ohio. Like, I thank all the people that donated so far, the people that RT, we're almost there. We still have some more to go. So any amount helps, or even RTing it. But what I want to do is I want to document my journey. So I want to stay focused on that and do what I got to do. HR or not, my ass is getting over there to Ohio. So, and that's my last words.
That sounds good. That sounds good. And also too, before we go, I wanna say thank you for like this has been fun. You know, I hopefully in the future, like down the road, we can like just take off. We can do mutual aid
Yes.
together,
Yes,
and
that's what I really want to do.
yeah,
I just need to get to my community
yeah,
and we'll
yeah,
go
yeah,
from there.
yeah. Once you have your community, I think you'll be all right. I think you're gonna live a long, happy life.
Thank you. And I hope that for you too, friend.
Oh,
And
thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Tea Time. We'll be back to be announced, but you know, but stay tuned. Me and Mike, we gonna be on here.
yes,
Continuing to speak truth to power.
show support to the founder of the ATP, you guys. Just because I'm not on the show, I'm still going to show them some love. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's to be continued. This is not a goodbye. This is a see you
No.
later for tea time, for sure.
Yeah. See you later for now, basically.
Yeah, see you later tea time, guess.
All right. All right, Liz. See you later.
Bye, Andre. See you later.
Bye.